Hey, it is your girl Abby, aka New Age Coach here, and I am lighting the way for those on their way to the light. Now, I hope you didn't click into this video for any other reason than clearly thinking it was going to be about me not eating meat. And if not, get your mind out of the gutter. But stay tuned to figure out in this video why I actually did cut meat out of my own personal diet. I know that this video, it can be a bit sensitive as we all have our own opinions and are on our own separate journeys. So please just try to be a little bit open-minded as I talk about where I am just in my own personal process. And I wanted to start off by saying myself that meat is delicious, I can't deny that. I am 34 years old and I have eaten meat since I had the teeth to be able to do so. And I do relate to anyone out there, still eating meat. And this video is in no way, shape, or form trying to make anyone feel bad or guilty, nor am I trying to convince anyone not to eat meat. Again, it's just really sharing my own personal experience as it relates to my spiritual journey. Growing up, my life has been centered around food. I come from an Italian and a Dominican background, and that means that food represents love, food represents family, food represents home. And my family lives around the kitchen table. It's where you can not only share your food, but it's really where you share your life. It's where you share your happy times, your worst times, your hopes, your fears. It's where you get to laugh and just be your authentic selves with each other. So, in my family, if you want to show somebody you care about them, you feed them. If you want to celebrate someone, you feed them. If you want to say sorry to somebody, you feed them. If you're bored, you feed them. I think you're getting the theme here. So, I think in all of these instances, I bring that up because meat plays a major role. Meat is included in all of these meals. So you can imagine that with this shift in my consciousness around not wanting to eat meat any longer, that it also came with a shift for my family and also friends, especially in social situations involving food. And then also for anyone else that I'm finding I have to kind of explain my eating preferences to in these kind of situations involving food. And the first question I keep getting all around from family, from friends, from coworkers, from anyone when they're seeing the choices that I'm deciding to eat is really, but why? And as of lately, I really have just been sitting with that question of why. It's valid, why am I choosing not to eat meat? And, for me, it's been a struggle for me to make this video because while I'm not eating meat currently as part of my journey, I still am eating fish at this point in time. So you can imagine even more so how confused people are when I'm saying, well, I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not a vegan, and I'm not a meat eater, but I do eat fish. And, I just simply refuse to call myself like a pescatarian or any of these things because, for any of them as well as me, this is a lot to process on multiple layers. It's because of labels, right? We're humans. We always need to classify things and put things in a box and have a way to judge things and rationalize things. We need to be able to explain things and, to make it easier to digest things, pun intended. Did you get it? Digest things? We're talking about food. Okay. Anyway, part of my struggle in making this video or even trying to explain this to anyone at all when they ask the question of why is because really for me, where I'm at in my journey, it's just simply because it's hard to put into words or into this box because the answer quite simply is that just in my heart of hearts, it feels right to me. That's it. It feels right intuitively to me right now in this moment. And even though it may not make logical sense, that I am eating this living thing like seafood, fish, but I'm deciding not to eat that living thing like land animals such as turkeys or pigs or cows or lambs, right? If the underlying principle is the same, which is not eating dead things that were once, alive, and, logically that makes sense and I understand that and I can understand confusion that comes around with this because I'm in that same boat of confusion. But all I can say is that this decision to not eat meat any longer it isn't logical, it's irrational, it's a feeling, it's a thought, it's part of my spiritual journey, because this literally happened to me overnight one night in November as part of my spiritual journey. You know, I have a video about when I spiritually awoke in November of last year of 2018, which you can watch that below. And really, a little while after that, you know, I made pork chops for dinner one night, and I remember taking my first bite of that pork chop, and I just heard a voice in my head, and it pretty much said, you know, enjoy this now. Like, literally enjoy this pork chop, because it really will be the last time that you're going to eat this. And, you know, I thought it was weird, this kind of voice that I've never heard that literally wasn't my own. You know, at this point in time, I had no idea I was actually going through a consciousness shift or a spiritual awakening at the point that this happened with this meal, you know, so I just kept eating it and went on, you know, just thinking, you know, I stopped for pause, like, what? Okay, like, where is this voice and what does that mean? I eat pork chops all the time, but why am I feeling this way eating this pork chop right now? That's interesting. And then shortly after, you know, I became sick. I became physically ill after eating that pork chop. And I was dry heaving, and it just felt like whatever I had just put in my body wanted to come out and not be, you know, I wanted to reject that out. And, you know, so it seems like I went to bed and legitimately overnight I was turned off to meat. And a little while after that specific experience, you know, I had some other things going on in my life that just led me to be like, all of this weird stuff is happening. I can't explain it. I don't know what's really going on. And that really forced me to start documenting some of these experiences that I was having, you know, because again, I didn't know it was a spiritual awakening. So I started sending myself emails about this happened or documenting this and that. And I'll show you just a clip of kind of really fast on November of 2018. I sent my email saying, you know, I had this weird experience that pork chops, this would be the last time I'd be eating meat. And since that whole pork chop night, that was the last time I have eaten meat. You know, we're in June of 2019 now, and I am really kind of in a place where I just feel lighter. I feel uplifted. I feel like I'm healthier. I feel like my mental clarity is better, and more so, you know, I just have this overwhelming feeling, you know, this knowing that there really is a larger reason at play for me on why meat no longer does serve me. And, I think that eventually seafood and fish, those will come off my diet as well. But for right now, that isn't my time for that right now. Much like a spiritual journey, you know, your body needs to get used to so much. It needs to make adjustments to just dealing with new things. Like, you know, in a spiritual awakening, you have new sensations like fiery, you know, burning sensations that'll shoot up your back, to tingles, or, you know, weird knee-jerk movements that you're not expecting, mudras, just feeling an intense amount of energy surging through your body at given times. You know, your body has to adjust to this new ascension, this new vibration that you're at, and these new frequencies that you're leveling up to as part of your spiritual awakening, you know. So it's all a process for that in itself. It's a slow process that you have to integrate. You have to just get used to it. You have to be settled in that before adding more to this spiritual layer mix, right? And I feel the same way about my journey with my diet, you know, with removing meat but not fish quite yet. I say that because, like I said, you know, removing meat wasn't an obvious choice for me. It really did just feel like it was something that happened to me overnight. But ultimately, I do make the decisions every day still in this process to eat this and not that. And I keep saying that word process because that's what this is, even when it comes to spirituality, even when it comes to diet, right? Specifically with diet, and also that piece about why I might still be eating fish right now, right? I'm still learning to undo 34 years of conditioning. You know, meat just fell off my plate, again, no pun intended, but fish is one of these things that I will have to work for. It is still part of kind of understanding my consciousness shift, really kind of understanding the larger collective purpose to all of this, but also being sensitive to my body and to this 34-year-old vessel that is used to eating one way and doing certain things, right? So right now my choices every day on what I eat, they are more based on what I value, what I believe to be true now, what I believe to be worth it now. So, I'm not saying I'm having fish every night. And when there are situations where I can choose to eat things other than, something like fish, I absolutely do that. But again, I'm still learning. I'm still really trying, and really figuring this all out for myself as I share this video with you today. So ultimately, what I've been learning as part of my spiritual journey overall, but especially as it relates to diet, is that, even though I'm eating fish but not eating meat at this precise moment in time, it all boils down to the same thing. Spirituality or diet-wise, the answer is listen to your intuition. Listen to you. And through my awakening, I really did wake up to the reality that, you know what? Your body tells you what it needs. Your soul tells you what it needs, and that, in my opinion, is really what I feel is following the higher path, right? It's listening to yourself, period. So my overarching advice here would be, don't judge anyone for their choices, food-wise or anything else-wise. They are on their own path, and it's all part of this journey of life. Every choice, every decision, whether that comes down to what we put in our, mouth and bodies to, what we choose to believe in, etc. And I would say in terms of diet, it's absolutely okay and normal to experiment, as you feel inspired to experiment, try this or try that. Just listen to yourself and your body as you try these things to see how you're reacting. I've definitely witnessed people who really did need a meat-based diet for the protein or what have you, and they resorted to a plant-based diet or just eating fruits and veggies, and guess what? It made them ill. And on the flip side, I've known people who have eaten meat and gone down this path, and again, it does not work out for them because their body is not equipped for that. They should have been eating a plant-based, holistic, kind of organic diet, It's to each his own in this respect, We've all known people or been someone where we have to adjust our diet based on certain situations in life, whether that be an illness or something else that forces us to have to reevaluate and try different things and really see how that makes us feel, and do that if it makes us feel better, right? So the bottom line is just be wise and be aware and be present. Don't let others kind of tell you what you should do, because only they can know what's right for them, the same way that only you can know what's right for you. So be your own person and really create your own pathway. And I say that for life, I say that for spirituality, and I'm saying that now for diet as well. Overall, not eating meat has definitely made some visible changes to my body. It has absolutely helped my mental state of mind, but most profoundly, it really truly changed my spirit, and I could not be more grateful for that. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and most importantly, tap that bell notification so you get the next video, which will be on Sunday. Suns, huns!